Hello everyone, welcome to Sumit Photo World. Today in this video I will take you through all the images which I captured in my recent workshop on nature photography. In that workshop I make sure that I will get at least 3 photos which looks really incredible, and 1 photo should be good enough to be there in my portfolio. And we'll talk about lighting, composition, editing, and I'll show you how I plan my composition, how I found that image should be good enough to be there in my portfolio, and I'll take you through all the bits and pieces what we found in nature and how we can further enhance with little bit of touch up. If you want to be part of my workshop, you just need to enroll it on my website. Just visit sumitphotoworld.com. Under workshop you will find events calendar. I have many of the workshops already scheduled, so just register for one of the workshop and be with me in my next workshop. So if you find the workshop so interesting to you, just register and be with me in my next workshop. So these are the images which I captured around sunrise time. So if you see these images, it's having different shades of light. So as soon as I reach any location, I observe the light condition, and around sunrise time it's really amazing to capture the different shades of light, and I can see the 3 layers of light. And before doing anything, I select all those images which I can go into the post processing. So I selected 3 images here, and if you see the first image, in the first image this is the first photo I captured at the location, and the time I see the 3 layers of light, the first layer having some bright shades of light, the middle layer having some warm colors, around sunrise we'll see the warm colors, and the last layer have dark shadows. So this is the kind of light we want to show as a photographer, the different shades of light. All these 3 layers blend together and make a beautiful image. I can further enhance this in editing. I'll show you how it looks in the editing, but before that we'll see the EXIF. I use 50mm lens with f2.5 and shutter speed 1/250 and ISO 200. So this is the initial setting for my we can say first photo, because the light was not good, so I have to keep my aperture really wide. And if you see the edited version, so I enhanced the color contrast, exposure I corrected, I just further did the darkening the shadow, so just to enhance the visual. So it really looks amazing, and we can feel the beauty of nature in this photo. And every time you go to nature it feels amazing, that's it. So it's always feel amazed. And this is the second photo. So when I was focusing on this image, I was focusing on the tree just to blur out the background. And for the EXIF, for the camera settings, I set the aperture f5.6, and because I just want to have that tree in good focus, it was quite near to me, and I want to blur out the background. And in this third photo, if you see, most of the things are looking in good focus because I kept the aperture f11 just to make sure I'll have a good depth of field, and a bunch of trees will look in good texture, good shades, pattern. And the edited version, this is the raw version of image, so you will see that light looking quite dull. I did further enhance in the edited version. So this is my final retouch image where I enhanced the light, exposure, color, contrast, everything I improved, and it looks really amazing in the final look. And we can feel the beauty of nature in this photo. It's really amazing. And in this photo I try to capture the texture. So when I see this tree, it really caught my eye, and at that time I decided that I have to crop it. So I have to crop it in a way it will show as a, we can say, the kind of macro feel we'll get out of it. You will see that, and in the final touch image it is really looking amazing. And if the camera settings, if we see here, I used 300mm lens here, 70-300mm lens I was having. So at the full focal length I used with aperture f5.6, shutter speed 1/400 and ISO 400, just to balance the exposure. That's how I control the light when I'm doing outdoor shoots. And if we see the edited version of this photo, you'll see what I've done. I've just enhanced the color contrast and the sharpness, the texture details I improved in this photo. So this is the really looking amazing, look like a macro work. I can feel the details and on the tree here, and it is really beautiful. You can see the different shades of light in this photo. And in this photo, if you see, this is a raw image without editing, so it's a straight out of the camera, but still the contrast you can feel in the image. It's the green leaves coming really good out because of the backlight. Sun was behind, and I just observed these leaves shining in the sunrise time. And for camera settings, I kept the aperture 5.6 and rest all the settings remain same. The shutter speed 1/400, ISO 400 on 300 mm lens, just to make sure that I have good isolation with the background. That's why I use 300. I always advise to use a lens with the full focal length. If you have a zoom lens, just go for the full focal length of that. And this is the edited version. If you see this image, I added a gradient effect, red tint effect I added in the gradient, and it's giving really good we can say the artistic feel on this image. And I've done the same with this couple of more composition with the grass leaves around it, and those will be looking really further amazing because of the lighting condition I created in the editing. I added a gradient effect, and it looks amazing. If you see this image, I added a gradient effect from both sides, and it's look like a painting. So sometimes we really surprised how it looks amazing when we do just little touch up on those images. Even in the nature, it looks amazing. And in this photo, if you see, I observed the dry leaf just stuck in between the green grass, so it was really amazing to see that just string of this dry grass popping out on this image, and just a little touch up and it'll improve. In this photo, if you observe, I just sense some light shades around it, so I thought I can just further enhancement in the editing. I just enhance the color contrast, and the shades look really amazing. Just little touch up here for the contrast correction, and just improved it in the editing, and it looks really amazing. If you see here, this is one other version of the similar photo where I thought if we convert this photo in a black and white, it will give some kind of canvas feel. And if you see this edited version, I just converted into the black and white, and in monochrome it looks really further enhanced. Just little touch up in the contrast, and it's look really beautiful. In this photo, when I first observed these leaves on tree, I sense that it's going to overexpose, so I asked my participant Satyam. So Satyam was my participant in my workshop, so I asked him to hold my head to create some shadow on the leaf. And the camera settings, let me tell you that I kept the same camera settings, f5.6, shutter speed 1/400, but the ISO I changed little because the light was improving. And this is the image which I captured with the help of shadow created using my hat, and it gave me really the amazing result. And I'm fortunately that the final look when I got it was really amazing. So this is the edited version of the image where I have a lot of highlights because I was not having any shadow on the leaves. But if you see the edited version of the same photo, this is the image which I captured using my hat, shadow created using hat, and it looks really beautiful. So texture, we can see the texture details. It feels like that I used macro lens. So these are the photos where I try to capture the different shades of leaves. So whenever I do my nature photography workshop, I always feels how the leaves I can capture in different shades. For camera settings, I kept it the camera settings same as per the previous photo, f5.6 1/400 shutter speed and ISO 200. So I'll show you the edited version of these photos. So you can see that leaf, it looks really amazing, and it's giving me the kind of artistic feel, canvas like that, like a painting I have done. So all this look amazing, just little touch of work. And this is the ant hill I found at the location, and I sense that with the camera settings of 1/500 I can balance the exposure. So that's how I balance the exposure with change of shutter speed. I just took one more shot with little close-up, and with the final touch I further cropped it, and just to make sure enhance the contrast and texture on this ant hill. These are the tones. So a tones art photography, it's really amazing. You can try yourself and you'll be amazed with the results. Camera settings I kept same, and if you see the edited version of these photos, they will look really amazing. So this is the photo I always like to create, that I can print it, I can make a wall paper on my wall, then it'll be amazing to see all these. So this is the tree log tree I found, and I sense some cool and warm tone in the tree, and I'll show you the edited version, that how it is really looking beautiful after just enhancing the color and contrast. And if you see this edited version, that how the colors pop out on the tree, and the blue tone what I sense, a cool tone I sense, and it's really amazing after just little editing on the photo. This is the first photo using my macro lens, 105mm macro lens I used to capture this photo. And the composition, it's very standard when we are capturing a stem, and aperture is 5.6, shutter speed is 1/320. I kept the aperture just enough to capture the stem. It was quite thin actually, and with the editing I just enhanced the colors. So that's it, very minimal editing on this stem. If you see, I found this one leaf. So this is the kind of style or photography I do in nature. This is the raw image, and just little touch up and enhance the color contrast, and it will feel really incredible. This is again another photo, and just little, we can say that cross effect, cross processing, and it makes that photo look amazing. I always try to isolate my subject from the background, and I try to follow the same rule even in the nature. I found this grass forming a shape of Y, and when you have a photo where you can show a letter, it'll further enhance the visual impact. Camera settings remain same, aperture 5.6, shutter speed 1/500. And if we see the edited version, I added some cool tones in the final touch, and just slightly tinted or tilted the frame to make it a proper Y. And this is a similar photo based on the same concept, where I can try to capture the grass. And there in this dry flower, I try to capture the details. I just kept the same settings, 5.6 aperture, 1/500, and I know I have to crop it on this rope heavily, just to show the details. And the final touch image, you can see that how I enhanced the color contrast and cropped it just enough to observe the details. So this is one other photo, and I just composed it in a way and rotate the image so it will look amazing. In this photo, I just want to show you example how background should complement the subject. So camera settings is same what was in the previous frame, 5.6 aperture and 1/500 shutter speed. And if you see the final retouch image for this flower, this is the best what I can get. I spend at least 1 hour for this image, and even then I feel that this is the best I can get. But on this photo, if you see, just little effort, and because the color contrast, it was quite complementing. It looks really amazing. So this is the grass where I observed kind of rule of third composition, where it was quite fitting well. And the camera settings, aperture 5.6, 1/500. You must have observed that I try to keep the settings remain same, because I can focus on how I can compose really well. So my concentration is always on the composition. And this is the second composition for the similar, where I get further close to the stem, and it will help me to further isolate the subject with the background. This is the symmetrical composition I observed in nature, and it's very easy to find in nature to symmetrical composition. Just cropped it, and that's how I create the balance. And just if you divide the image in the middle, it will create a mirror look, and that's how we call symmetrical composition. Camera settings is same, and still I continue with the same settings because the light was at that time around same. And the final touch image, if you see here, I enhance the color contrast and added a vignette effect just to pop out the subject. This is the dry leaf, and this is I captured using my 300 mm lens. So again I went back to this because I was just closing out my workshop, and whenever I go back, when I try to cover my way back to the workshop, I sense that I can quickly capture some macro kind of photos using my 300 mm lens, which I easily mimic like a macro. On this photo, if you observe, I try to capture the leaves, isolate the subject from the background, and create different shades in nature. That's the specialty. I feel that if you are a nature photographer, you always try to highlight the texture, details, shapes in the nature. And this photo, if you see, I try to just try to compose the similar kind of leaf structure in a different way, just to make it look more attractive. In this photo, if you see how I tilted the leaves and just make it a quite realistic macro work. If you like this video, you can hit the like button, and you can subscribe my channel if you like to get notification on my future video. Before I start a slideshow, I want to show you a video clip from the workshop where you will get an idea about how I start the proceeding. And I will also show you a video message from my participant Satyam Rana. He will share his experience from the workshop and what he feels about nature photography. Okay, so whenever I start my workshop ना, I'll just do basic introduction कि उसमें आपको अपना बस बताना है कि आपके पास कैमरा कौन सा है, कितने टाइम से आप फोटोग्राफी कर रहे हैं, and your name, what you want, what is the expectation from today's workshop. That's it. English, हिंदी, जोन सी लैंग्वेज बोलनी बहुत नहीं बोलना है ना. कैमरा का नाम. हाँ, कैमरे का. Okay. Which model? कैमरा मॉडल just यहाँ पे. D7500. So, कितने टाइम से आप फोटोग्राफी कर रहे हैं?
मैं तो 1 साल हो गया फोटोग्राफी करना. एक्चुअली मैं एक इकोलॉजिस्ट हूँ. ecologist.com environmentalist. Basically, we are working for a NGO, that is Watershed Organization Trust. We are work for in 7 district in 7 state, I think. Basically, our work area is Ahmednagar.
Okay.
We are working as basically हम Watershed Organization Trust के लिए काम करते हैं. जिधर हम वाटर होल मतलब बेसिकली बायोडाइवर्सिटी के ऊपर ही काम करते हैं. बिकॉज आई एम इकोलॉजिस्ट, एंड मैं एक्चुअली ओडिशा से बिलोंग करता हूँ. मेरा मास्टर हुआ है पांडिचेरी यूनिवर्सिटी से. देन
That's it. So, what is the expectation from today's? क्या आपने कैसे फाइंड करा, क्या एक्सपेक्टेशन?
एक्चुअली मेरे को फोटोग्राफी बहुत पसंद है. इसके बारे में उतना नहीं नॉलेज है, तो मेरे को थोड़ा एक्सपर्टाइज होना है.
Okay.
आप जैसे एक्सपर्ट से मेरे को सीखना है।
थोड़ा प्रिपरेशन करके आए हैं फिर। क्योंकि ऐसे वर्कशॉप ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं ना, तो बेटर है कि कुछ थोड़ा सा प्रिपरेशन करके जाएं, जिससे कि आपके पास कुछ क्वेश्चंस रहें अपने डाउट्स क्लियर करने के लिए। क्योंकि ब्लैंक जाएंगे तो जितना मेरे पास है मैं एक बार में दे सकता हूँ, क्योंकि मैं भी ह्यूमन हूँ, सब कुछ एक साथ नहीं मैं दे सकता। जितने जैसे जैसे मेरे माइंड में आता है, आई विल शेयर ऑल दैट नॉलेज एक्सपीरियंस जो भी है अकॉर्डिंग टू सब्जेक्ट। बट बेटर है कि खुद भी थोड़ा सा प्रिपरेशन करके आओ आप जब भी जॉब जा रहे हो आप ऐसे वर्कशॉप पे, क्योंकि उसमें क्या है, आपको जितना ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा आपको उसमें मिल सकेगा ना, इट विल बी गुड फॉर यू।
ओके
सो यू कैन ग्रास्प, यू कैन जस्ट डू प्रैक्टिस। उस नॉलेज को आप यूज करेंगे तभी उसको आप समझ पाएंगे। ओके, चलो स्टार्ट करते हैं फिर आज का।
हेलो एवरीवन, मेरा नाम सत्यम राणा है। एक्चुअली मेरे को इस जगह के बारे में एक्चुअली पुणे फाउंडेशन मतलब एक साइड है जिधर से पुणे एक्सप्लोरेशन बोलते हैं, उधर से मिला। और ये एरिया तो बहुत अच्छा है, मतलब एक्सपेडिशन से देयर इज ए वाटर बॉडी ऑल्सो, एंड देन नेचर भी बहुत अच्छा है। इससे पहले मेरे को उतना कुछ नॉलेज नहीं था कैसे फोटोग्राफी करते हैं। एक्चुअली मैं फोटोग्राफी 1 साल पहले स्टार्ट किया जब मेरा जॉब लगा था इधर एज ए रिसर्चर। बेसिकली वेयर हम इकोलॉजी के ऊपर, बायोडाइवर्सिटी के ऊपर काम करते हैं। सो मेरे को सिर्फ फोटोग्राफी मतलब कैमरा लेना है और जाके सिर्फ फोटोग्राफी करना है, इतना पता था। तो उसका क्या सेटिंग होता है, कैमरा सेटिंग, ये सब कुछ पता नहीं था। उसके बाद क्या क्या करना है नेचर में जाके, क्या वेटिंग करना है, उसके बारे में भी कुछ नहीं मालूम था। आफ्टर दिस सेशन मेरे को पता चला कैसे शटर स्पीड, कैसे आईएसओ को सेटिंग करना है, कैसे को नेचर को कैसे विजन में देखना है। सो यू मस्ट विजिट SPW and meet Sumit bhai. Okay, that's all.